comes back.
All right, finally back on track with the Predator franchise, and we're into Predator 2. Can somebody tell me what the hell is wrong with this movie? Why is it that apparently it's the thing to do now is to crap on this movie? And okay. Maybe it's not everybody. It just seems like with Prey coming out a few weeks ago, people kind of going back and reviewing, myself included, revisiting these older movies, that this is just the dumping ground for some reason, that it's a bad movie, or it's just not that good. Or this is a great movie. This is a perfect follow-up to the classic. Okay, what were they going to do? Go back to the jungle again? I mean, they kind of do that later on in the series, of course, and that's fine. It's a great setting for the Predator, but for a sequel, they just took the next logical step as far as I'm concerned. They went and they took it to the concrete jungle, which is one of the comic books that they did in Dark Horse, which I'm a huge fan of back in the early 90s. Great stuff. Great story. Let's amp it up a little bit. You've got two warring gangs, big gang, drug war, what have you. You have all the detectives involved. This is LA. This is insane. It's very violent. It's a perfect follow-up. It makes perfect sense. The Predator fits into this really well. I mean, it's kind of the fish out of the water in theory as to what we know of the Predator so far. The first film was very simple and bare bones. This one has a lot more going on. There's a lot more characters, a lot more different angles that this stuff is coming through. You have the detectives and the police and all that. You have two different, the Jamaican voodoo gang, you have the Colombians, and they're all duking it out. And it's fantastic. You've got, who's this directed by? Stephen Hopkins, who's got a mixed bag, I guess we could say, of films, but he did some really good stuff. We'll start with some of the lesser of his stuff. Let's say he did Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Not the best in the series. I will cover the Nightmare on Elm Street series eventually here. We'll have some fun when we get to that one. I'm not going to say it's all on him. If I'm not mistaken, I read stuff on this, and I feel like they didn't even really have a script maybe on this one. I think they made it up on, not Predator 2, on Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Visually, it's got some cool stuff in it, though. I mean, as a director, I think he probably handled his bit as best he could. Whatever. But that is actually probably what got him this job as I came out before this. I imagine it led into it, at least to some degree. He did the Lost in Space movie in '98, which wasn't horrible. It was what it was. Not a bad movie, though. Actually, I remember going to see this movie in the theater with my brother. This was in '98, and I remember because this was the year that the Godzilla came out, the '98 Godzilla, the much maligned Godzilla movie. But we didn't know that back then. We were all, a lot of us anyway, were kids that grew up in the 80s, with the old school Godzillas. We were super excited. They started putting these teasers out. You didn't get to see stuff online. We barely had an internet back then. It was the very tip of the beginning of the internet. There were some chat rooms and stuff like that. But if you wanted information on the movie, you got it like when you saw a poster on the wall at the theater. You're like, man, I had no idea that was coming out, or, oh, that's exciting. And there was a lot more mystery to that kind of stuff. You might catch a little bit in a magazine, a little article about something here or there, some news. But until you saw something in the theater, you really didn't see or know something was coming. And we had heard, I believe, I can't remember where we heard it. It was probably in Fangoria or something like that. I was an old school Fangoria fan, but either way, the story came out that like the first actual trailer for Godzilla. They'd done a couple cool like teaser trailers for Godzilla, but it was going to be the first true trailer for Godzilla. And we went to Lost in Space almost literally just to see that. And we did, and it was exciting and it was cool. And the movie wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. A lot of fun. I'm rambling on. That's totally not the point of this video. What are we talking about again? Predator 2. Okay, some of Stephen Hopkins, though, he also did some of the better stuff he's done. He did The Ghost in the Darkness, Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, Killer Lion movie. Very cool movie. I will review that one eventually as well. I just gave it away. I liked it. It's a good flick though. Really cool movie. I remember seeing that one in the theater as well. He also did, Judgment Night. That came out way back in '93. Emilio Estevez, Jeremy Piven, Dennis Leary, I think was the villain in that one. Who else? Stephen Dorff's in that. I know that I'm forgetting some. Cuba Gooding Jr.'s in that. Very cool movie also. And then one of my favorite mid-90s action movies, Blown Away, with Jeff Bridges and Tommy Lee Jones eating it up in that movie. He's so good in it. What's his name? Forrest Whitaker's in it. I'm trying to remember who else. Lloyd Bridges, Jeff Bridges' father is in it, and he's actually in a very serious role. We always think of him as comedies and Airplane and stuff, but anyway, I'm rambling on, but that movie is awesome. I absolutely love Blown Away. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm going to do a review on that one just because I like it. It's not horror. This is not just horror, but my channel is horror-centric. But I can appreciate a good movie when I see it. So moving on. Predator 2, though. So everybody, okay, again, not everybody, but it really feels like people are dumping on this movie, and it's cool. They move the mythology along a little bit. They don't go overboard. They don't over-explain anything, but they give us some cool stuff in this. He gets some more gadgets to use. He has, weaponry and stuff like that. You get a little bit more. We're just stepping it along. We're not jumping the gun here. Great cast. Danny Glover, of course, is fantastic in the lead in this.
More victims, more mutilation. Fuck you.
Ruben Blades is his partner, also, team member partner. Late great Bill Paxton, of course. You got to give him some props.
And you know what she said without missing a beat?
No.
She said, I stabbed that son of a bitch plenty of times. He never died on me before.
When he's one of the only few people that's been killed by a predator, Terminator, and an alien, and probably other stuff, but he's definitely left a mark on all those movies. Gary Busey, for Christ's sakes.
Now you get the hell out of here.
Gary Busey.
How am I doing today, Gary Busey? You're doing great. Good. Then I'll keep it up.
This was, I believe, his first role back when he had it. I don't know, people who knew this, younger people may not know this. He had a really bad motorcycle accident. I think this was his comeback role after that. So, and he chews the scenery up. And I actually believe, I've read this at a couple of places, so it's got to be true, that the role he plays is Peter Keyes, the government guy that's kind of trying to get a hold of the predators and the predator attack and study them, was originally going to be for Arnold Schwarzenegger, returning in a character, kind of almost making him a quasi-villain in this. So I'm kind of glad he didn't come back. I think Gary Busey eats the part up, and it's cool not to see Dutch turned into a sort of a villain, at least in this. Also, Adam Baldwin is in this.
The last person in the world you want to fuck with.
Guy's great, and he's never aged. He was Animal Mother in Full Metal Jacket, and of course Jane in Firefly. So, and there's many more people in this. I know I'm leaving people out, and I apologize. There's just a lot to like here, and there's a lot going on. I think there's way more story. There's several really cool action set pieces. The movie opens on a straight, block-wide shootout between the police and the, I think it's the Colombian gang. Yeah, the El Scorpio. And it's just a really gnarly stuff. This is a really gritty, gnarly movie. They don't hold back. Actually, they had to hold back. I read that they had to do, I don't know how many cuts on this movie, resubmitting it to actually get an R rating because of the violence and everything in it. So yeah, there's that opening scene. There's the, I'm trying to think, there's the penthouse scene where the Colombian dude's with his mistress and the voodoo gang breaks in and they cut his heart out, and then the predator shows up and slays everybody, and you actually get to see a lot more of his little gadgets in that particular scene alone. There's the subway attack where two of the police, Bill Paxton and the girl, I can't remember the lady's name. I feel really bad for that. I apologize. She was fantastic in it, but they're on the subway, and then you have just some regular street thugs and civilians all pulling guns on each other and this big confrontation, and the Predator shows up and it's just this massacre on the subway, and it's really well done. Very cool scene. There's the scene in the meat house where Peter Keyes, Gary Busey's character's team has found the Predator, where the Predator goes to eat, and they've set up a trap for him, and everything goes tits up. And it's a pretty badass scene too. So, and then there's the whole final act with Danny Glover chasing down the Predator, and things taking turns you don't really necessarily see coming. There's some cool stuff in this movie. The Predator's played by the same guy as Kevin Hall. I'm getting his name mixed up, but same dude. Guy who played Harry and the Hendersons. Really just a fun movie. I mean, I could just go on and on about it, I guess. I guess I'm just trying to, like, push back, because everybody's like, well, Predator 2, I liked it because of nostalgia. It's okay to like something just simply for nostalgia, but I can go back. Actually, I just watched this, and it's still badass. This movie is crazy. It's nuts. But again, like I said, it just builds on the lore a little bit. It doesn't go crazy and over-explaining crap about the Predator. It's cool at the end. Danny Glover's on the ship. This movie is very old. I'm not giving spoilers. Well, I'm giving spoilers away, but if you haven't seen it, whatever, you're not going to be not able to enjoy the movie. But they have the trophy wall, and which has, of course, amongst other things, the xenomorph skull, xenomorph from Aliens, which set up the whole Alien vs. Predator thing. I'm not sure if that came first or the comics did, but I think this came first, or maybe the comics did. But either way, it really planted the seed, and it got fans immediately talking about this. And it was at least probably close to almost 20 years, maybe not. Was it 90? Alien vs. Predator came out in 2003, so yeah, 23 years I think it took for this movie to come to fruition from a little seed planted at the end of this one, as well as Danny Glover getting the musket that has a different story in the comic books, of course, but came into play in the more recent movie Prey. Very cool stuff, man. And the movie's it's just fun. It's gritty. It's got a lot more going on than the original. Is it as good as the original? No. Pretty damn close though. I mean, the original, you can't top the original because we didn't know what the hell it was. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew where it was going. Nobody knew anything like that. So yeah, it's always got that edge. This is a worthy follow-up for sure. In my opinion, easily number 2. Okay, I'm not going to do the ranking yet, but hey, spoiler, it's my second favorite. So please, if you haven't for some reason seen it, if you like the Predator movies, and I say movies, if you like the movies, you've probably seen this one, but if you're into it, if you just saw Prey and that was the first taste of it, or if you only watched the first Predator movie, or maybe you're part of the generation that only seen the Alien vs. Predator movies, whatever, check it out. If you haven't seen it in a while, go back and revisit it and see. Give it a chance. It's a really cool flick. Well made, fun. They hold nothing back, I mean, they really go for it. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I just don't get the hate. I really don't. But to each their own. We like what we like. So I'll have continue this review series finally. I've been sick for a week. I apologize. I've been a little bit out of whack, and I have been trying to get this Predator series done. I will have Predators up very soon, so please come back. I've got stuff to say about that one as well. I appreciate you stopping by. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.
You can't see the eyes of the demon until him come calling.